Hey guys, it's Lainey and today is Top 5 Wednesday. Today's Top 5 Wednesday topics are our top 5 favorite historical fiction stories. Most of mine are at home, back home in my collection of books back there. So today I'm just going to be doing pictures over, for each one. So here we go. Coming in at number 5 is actually going to be The Young Elites by Marie Lu. Now, this is a fantasy book, and this is the only fantasy book that has made it on my list, and I could go on and on about all the historical fantasy books that I really do like, because clearly there are a lot of them, but I thought I was going to include this one above the other ones, because while I'm assuming that these other ones take place in the past, in The Young Elites, it's very obvious that it takes place in the 1400s, because it has 1400s like in the very beginning. So with that set in mind, I wanted to include in this list because of that. I found the world to be completely rich and just saturated in the good way with so much tradition and moral and culture for this kind of story, especially because the world is not a world where we are familiar with. Coming in at number 4 is The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler. This one still takes place in the 20th century, but I wanted to use non-21st century books, obviously, for historical genre, so that's why I include The Big Sleep, because it takes place in the early 1900s. It is a crime noir detective story, and I love those kind of stories, so that's why The Big Sleep's number 4. Coming in at number 3 is the most recent of all of the books I've included on this list, because it takes place during the Vietnam War, and that is The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. I've also mentioned this book quite a lot on my channel in the fact that I love it. I love The Things They Carried. It is a collection of short stories that revolve around a certain group of characters, the characters being the unit that is over in Vietnam. So I love the writing, I love Tim O'Brien, I love everything about this book. It is seriously one of my favorite great American novels, but it's also historical, so that's why it's included in here. Coming in at number 2 is Devil in the White City by Erik Larson, I think. If you see this, it's because I guessed right, and I included it in the final cut. The Devil in the White City is also about America's first serial killer, and it takes place during the World Fair in Chicago in the 19th century. Really enjoyed it. I love the way it was set up. I loved the way it portrayed all the characters. I really loved it, and it made me want to learn more about H.H. Holmes, who is a serial killer in the book. And coming in at number 1 is my favorite historical novel, one of my favorites of all time, and that is Memoirs of Geisha by Arthur Golden. I read this book when I was in 8th grade, and I was completely engrossed in this entire story and the entire culture, and the movie was coming out when I was in 8th grade. That's kind of why I wanted to read it. The whole concept of a geisha has always been really intriguing to me, and that's why I was drawn to the story and these characters, and it was such a good novel. It's one of those novels I'm going to be rereading. Maybe when I go home, I'll grab the book, because that's how much I want to reread it, right now. I love Memoirs of Geisha. I love the movie. All of it. I love. And that's it for my top 5 historical reads. What about you guys? What are some of your favorites? I would love to know. Hope you guys all had a really good Wednesday, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!